It's a very exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
If you're in the business of making money, it would behoove you to be a safe and inclusive space.
Whether you agree with what someone is saying has nothing to do with his right to say it.
Say the line, Bart.
I'm not a very big fan of the black people.
My shit cause I walk my walk. If you bitch on my dick, that's not my fault. Only fucking your bitch cause you not my dog. Tell shorty I'm brick, that's not drywall.
What's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrifice my time so you don't have to. Now, y'all know when the homie Eazy-E is covering the subject, your boy I gotta cover the covered subject. Yeah, you understand? You understand? No, real talk though. Eric Bischoff is still, in my opinion, one of the more realer people still today in the industry. He tells it like it is. People like to go out on the limb and say this, oh, well, Eric Bischoff, he's very biased. All he does is hate on AEW. Nah, just because he doesn't kiss AEW's ass doesn't mean that he's biased. If you actually watch his program, he actually puts over AEW a lot, and even some of the individual talent. The only thing he actually goes over is, and honestly, you can't tell me how that's not warranted, it's criticizing Tony Khan's position as a booker and a promoter. That's it. He hardly, if ever, legitimately criticizes the AEW product in itself or the wrestlers. He does criticize it, but not as much as everybody wants to make it out to be. He criticizes them as much as I criticize them, and I criticize them a hell of a lot more than he criticizes them. It's pretty much primarily going after Tony Khan pretty much as a promoter and a booker. That's it. And what better person to say it than the person who was formerly in his position that took on Vince McMahon and has actually accomplished the thing that Tony Khan is trying to do and can't even get 1/3 of the way towards there. Now, with that being said, a little bit of an introduction, let me get directly into today's topic via an article, which, by the way, yes, again, kill me now, it's Ringside News, yes, I know, but it's just a transcript, so I feel comfortable reading it from them, even though I expect a bunch of grammatical errors. God save the queen with this article right here, am I right? Cross your fingers. Let's hope we don't get any Sajid errors in this article. Eric Bischoff blasts AEW over low viewership despite Mercedes Moné's debut. Okay, so far so good. Because, 9 times out of 10, they can't even correctly type their titles. After months of discussion and rumors making multiple rounds, look at me, I'm botching. After months of discussion and rumors making multiple rounds. No, I didn't botch. They just incorrectly typed the word round. It's supposed to be rounds. Although, let's just go directly to the transcript. I don't have time reading these goddamn 5th grade language arts gifted people. God damn it, these more. Same thing, and this is coming from Eric Bischoff. Same thing here with Mercedes. 800,000 viewers on the show where you're bringing in arguably one of the more recognizable female stars in the wrestling industry who spent, I don't know how many years, a decade at a high profile position within the largest wrestling company in the world. And you bring her into AEW and you get 800,000 viewers. And I know, Dave Meltzer immediately went, well, they didn't advertise her. That's why. Bullshit. Who are you kidding? If there was anybody who was a wrestling fan or a fan of AEW who didn't know that Mercedes was going to make her debut in Boston, then I don't know what to tell you, based. If people like Dave want to believe that, there's nothing that I'm going to say that's going to change anything for them because they're stuck in a rut and in a small way of thinking, and nothing is ever going to change for them. But the numbers don't lie. 800,000 viewers for Mercedes Moné? I don't know. And I know everybody's all, well, wait till next week. Now that everybody knows, I have news for you folks. If that number moves 3 to 5% either way, plus or minus, I'll be surprised. I said it 6 months ago when the rumors started floating around about Mercedes going to AEW, and the question was, oh, do you think you'll have any impact? And my answer was, no, it won't. Just like no one else that's come from WWE has made an impact on the ratings. It's not the talent. Is that it? Please, God, tell me that so I can start reading this fucking autistic ass damn rambling article that these people type so horribly. Sajit, we are foes. Me and you, WrestleMania, Sajit. Let's go, brother. Let's go. Me and you, WrestleMania. Seriously though, me and you, Sajit, we're gonna do it, bro. Put up your dukes, man. This is a long time coming. Reading your articles year after year after year. Oh boy, me and you, Sajit, we're gonna. Oh, I'm not holding back either. But let's get back to the crux of the article real quick, because I feel as if this is, in my opinion, he actually covered a couple of points that even I didn't really discuss, because that's actually a very integral part is Dave Meltzer and a lot of his fans, by the way, who cover for nonsense like this in their enabling manner. That's actually a very good point that I didn't even think about. And I did see this a couple of times throughout the weeks, throughout the couple of days, which is just weird and asinine on so many levels. So many people saying, well, they did an advertiser. Did they advertise CM Punk also for Rampage, where they got the biggest number in Rampage history? Did they advertise him there too? Oh, wait, no. They didn't advertise CM Punk. They advertised them in a very similar way to how they advertised Mercedes Moné for months. Literally, they've been hyping this up since like late January. We've been knowing this to be the case as far as her going to AEW since all the way back in December. How do I know this? I made a video about her going to AEW all the way back in December. How do I further know this? I made a thumbnail preparing myself so I wouldn't have to go out of my way to make a thumbnail about this. I made a thumbnail back in December prepared for whenever she was going to make her debut, so I wouldn't have to waste time making a thumbnail and I can upload the commentary video as quick as humanly possible. Yes, everybody knew, if you were a wrestling fan, everyone knew for the most part that Mercedes was going to show up on AEW if you followed AEW. That is such a piss poor excuse that I hear from people like Dave Meltzer, from the AEW faithful, the sycophants, the ass lickers, if you will, the Tony Khan ass lickers, okay? 9 days! Oh, get in there a little bit deeper. 9 days! No, you guys are jokes. You guys are clowns. You should be ashamed of yourself, because it's that type of enabling attitude that's not going to help your company grow at all. But it gets even a little bit better, because he went on Eric Bischoff. I wouldn't call this a tirade as much as I would be saying, preach, brother, preach. When he was talking about and pretty much reciting, not as if he listened to my videos, but reciting the same things that I essentially said a couple of days ago also about the 800,000 number and people blowing smoke over everybody's ass. So, well, Mercedes Moné is going to be a game changer. And you know what's so goddamn funny about this also? You know how much just brutal copium, I think I said this in the live Dynamite video also, was that when Mercedes Moné came, so many people were on Twitter, on social media talking about, not only is this a game changer, it's a seismic shift, only to get a number like this. Folks, what part do you not get at the end? What part do you not understand? It's not about the wrestlers. Like Eazy-E said, it's not about the wrestlers. You could get as many WWE wrestlers as you want. At this point in time, honest to God, I think they could bring in John Cena and nothing effective will happen. Now, don't get it twisted. In the end of the day, the WWE machine, the propaganda machine from WWE is a huge contributing factor behind all this, and that will be the number one contributing factor. But it's not to say that they can't be another debating contributing factor that can actually help out your company, and you can build up your own propaganda machine one of these days. When you build up superstars that people can relate to, that in the end of the day is the key. That in the end of the day is the ticket. You could take right now one of your most mid superstars, give them a decent story, and present them accordingly throughout the night for weeks on weeks in, and do that for months. And eventually you crown them in the appropriate manner with whatever title you feel should be disposed of. How do you say? Help me out here. Fuck, I forgot my words. I got tongue twisted there for a second. Goddamn. Fucking put on their head. Goddamn, I can't think of the word now. I'm too fucking retarded. Whatever title you feel they need in order to cement their title or cement their position in whatever fucking meaningful way possible. Whatever. Goddamn, I'm so retarded right now. My point being is though, That's the path that you want to go down at the moment, right? That's the path that you want to go down. Because the more and more you go out of your way to use superstars that people already seen multiple times, and they kind of already have their judgment about them. Like, there's nothing really that all you're watching in the end of the day is just seeing a superstar jump from one company to the other, and that in itself is that's the excitement, right? Like, that's the only change of scenery. What should that tell you? As far as like a psychological standpoint, what should that tell you? When you're seeing wrestling fans who aren't really interacting with the superstar after seeing them come over to the other company, unless they're like really, really big names based off, and not even really, really big names, but more so based off of their history of what they bring to, like CM Punk, for an example. I'm not a big CM Punk fanboy at all, but at the same time, I understand that the main crux around CM Punk's gimmick, even though he never really delivers on it as much lately, is the unpredictability, right? That's what most people will say about CM Punk, is how unpredictable he is as a character. What is he going to say on his promos? What type of dumb shit is he going to do backstage? What is CM Punk going to do has always been what gave CM Punk his aura and his overall persona. That's why when he came to AEW, and by the way, not to mention that he was on hiatus for nearly 8 years from professional wrestling in general. So add that onto that. But I think even without the hiatus, right, if he actually kept up the unpredictable factor about him, that in itself is what draws CM Punk. That's why he can go to a different wrestling company and he can get a lot of buzz going around him and keep that buzz sustaining, stupid ass mosquito, for the most part. That's the crux of CM Punk, and I gotta give credit where credit is due. That's how it's done. With Mercedes Moné, you don't quite have that same drawing power. You don't have that same authority, if you will, right? Because Mercedes Moné doesn't necessarily have what I would call an interesting gimmick. She is not intriguing, right? You think about Mercedes Moné, what do you get out of that? Huh? What do you get out of that? You get like this cringe type of princess mystique about her, right? That's what you get. Self-proclaimed princess, by the way, right? One may even go back to her ratchet days and call her a ratchet princess, if you will, right? That's what you get out of Mercedes Moné's character. That's the aura. You get a brat, a spoiled brat. Nothing that really tells you that you need to turn the channel to see what she's doing at all. She doesn't have that vibe. She doesn't command that type of attention. But she did jump from WWE to AEW, so that right there, psychologically speaking, makes people go, oh, I'm very curious to see what's going on. And you barely got that many people as far as what you were actually, as far as what I was assuming you were going to get, you barely got that many people to come tune into that to begin with, right? But psychologically speaking, that's what people care for. So what that tells you is that people are more so interested in the meaning behind things rather than the subject in itself. So why do you keep lingering on and trying to attach yourself to all the wrestlers from yesteryear rather than focusing on... Now, again, like I said, unpredictability speaking, I can understand people like CM Punk for this. I completely get it. And you have to be consistent with that, because after 2 or 3 weeks of not getting that unpredictable factor that people were assuming was going to coincide with that character, especially people who didn't grow up with him or seen him live, when you get rid of the unpredictable factor, again, that's what's going to be your downfall in the end of the day, right? But going back to Mercedes Moné and going back to the overall crux of all this, that's what you're going to need, Tony. That's what you need in order to get over this hump. You will never get out of this hump if all you're going to do is a quick fix. Bringing in WWE talent and just displaying them and saying, okay, right there, that's what people want to see. That right there. No, they don't. And the worst part about it is, I can't think of anyone right now currently that's a free agent that anyone gives a shit about legitimately worldwide. For real. Not talking about your Kazuchika's, Okadas, or your Will Ospreays. And I like Will Ospreay, but there's no way you're going to sit here and tell me that there are people currently right now who are looking for any legitimate free agent on the market coming to AEW and saying to themselves, yeah, I absolutely can't wait. That's not the case. It's Ghana. You have now jumped the shark. Now you have to actually build up some legitimate stories. And like I said, it's not just the story part. It's actually showing them on television on a consistent basis. I went back to go watch an episode of Raw from '98, and can I give an example real quick of the whole linear storytelling thing that I always talk about? And I think I actually used this as an example a few years ago, probably like back in 2019 or 2020. But you guys weren't around at that time, so it doesn't even matter. It was this episode of Raw, and I know you guys probably seen it before. It was the Bang 316 episode of Raw back in '98, like right after I want to say after Judgment Day of '98. I want to say. I think that was after Judgment Day. I think he retained the belt, if I'm not mistaken. No, he lost the belt at Breakdown, right? I think he was trying to regain the belt, and he was a special referee for Taker and Kane at Judgment Day in your house in '98, right? But nevertheless, though, McMahon ended up firing Austin, right? And, he does the whole, oh, you're fired, Austin, blah, blah, blah. He's in the limo. You guys know the famous shot when he's sticking his middle finger in Austin. It's like, what the fuck? And then the next day on Raw, they're throwing a huge, mind you, this is linear storytelling. They're throwing a huge celebration. Austin is no longer around. He's fired. They got like a whole little picture of him on the screen, and they're celebrating the man's downfall. Then it transitions over to Austin in his truck, and he's polishing a hunting rifle. And Vince is like, what the fuck? It's him and the rest of the corporation. And he's like, what the fuck? And that was the start of what was going to be the theme throughout the night. And then they took him backstage to hide him from Austin, who's out there, and he's talking to the police officers about how he's going to be hunting some game, but in reality it's Vince McMahon. And they're just like, they'll go on one shot looking at Stone Cold Steve Austin, then they'll shoot back at the locker room, and Vince is surrounded by the corporation, and you have people who are trying to because you have the Stooges there too, Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe, and they're like, let's go get him some coffee, because in reality they're scared as shit of Austin. And Vince is like, don't leave me here, god damn it. And then Big Boss Man goes and follow him. I can't remember what Boss Man was doing, but then they'll run another skit in between that, and now it's Foley coming in, and he's trying to help and make Vince McMahon happy about his circumstances, about Austin trying to kill him. And then you'll have eventually Mick Foley go do something, and Austin, he makes his way into the locker room, and then the crowd pops because Austin gets inside there, and he essentially holds Vince McMahon hostage. And then eventually he rolls him out to the ring, and he does the whole Bang 316 gimmick. That happened throughout the night, and spliced in between, you gave in priority the angles that actually mattered. You gave priority to in between that linear storytelling happening throughout the night. That's how a superstar gets over. That's how Austin got over. It wasn't just showing Austin in the opening segment and then never to be seen again. It wasn't just showing Austin in the final segment and never to be seen again. It wasn't showing Austin 2 minutes in a vignette to see him next week when he comes back to Raw. That wasn't the case. You gave Austin a story, and he started from the beginning, and it ended with him throughout the night, with storylines prioritized as far as what was going to be shown that night. And then they got over, especially when they were coming off, because you got to remember, when Austin and McMahon were on television, they had high viewership numbers, right? So obviously the person who was going to be on television directly after that, they were going to benefit from that. That's getting high off your own supply, essentially. AEW can't do that. And the thing is, they can do it. They can't do it because they won't do it, but they can do it. Anybody can do it. And they get mad and they say things like, oh, you're making a show about one person. No, it's not making a show about one person. If you want to do that, that's your priority. But it's essentially saying that this guy is important. So eventually when he does drop the belt, or eventually when the next person takes his position, then another person takes that person's position, then another person takes that person's position, then so on and so forth, and you do that for about 2 or 3 years, now you got yourself an Armageddon 2000 situation where you have so many main eventers that you're literally questioning who should be filling the spot of what should be in that spot. Now you're actually literally asking yourself, wow, I have so many main eventers. I can have an Armageddon Hell in a Cell match and still feasibly fill out the card with no fucking problem. That's how much star power that you have on your brand alone, rather than having to go out there and fish for other talent. Linear storytelling as a whole, but in particular linear storytelling, that's the key to survival for any wrestling company. You get people relating to your characters, you get people relating to your wrestlers, And then, honestly, everything else takes heed. That controls the will. God, take the will from me. But Tony Khan and AEW can stick to the whole tiresome plan of taking WWE X Talent #1 to the extent where I seen a poster going around where they had all the former WWE wrestlers on there. You can actually fill a whole goddamn poster looking like a damn Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club fucking album with how many superstars you took from WWE. If that's your whole main focal point, is doing that and showing boring matches going on for 20 minutes for like 5 straight matches, and then doing that throughout the night and expecting anybody to get over, bringing in random talent left and right to have random lame long ass matches. Okay, continue to do that, and by next year 700,000 will be the standard bearer. And then you pay millions of dollars on top of that for all these superstars, hoping you're going to get a TV contract that's even worth a damn to make up for all that. Okay, bro, you do you, man. I'll be here watching your company, and when your downfall inevitably happens, I guess I'll go back to watching WWE, right? Because you're such an alternative. Such an alternative. Oh, look at that alternative, boy. You're going to put yourself out of business, what you're going to be an alternative of, because the alternative of WWE is not having a wrestling company. Duh. With that being said, though, let me know your thoughts on the comment section below. Devontae, you're an idiot. Devontae, you're a W hater. Devontae, you're living in the past. Devontae, attitude era, 90s. Cloud yelling, get off my grass. God, I'm just trying to put you guys on game. That's the problem with you young folks nowadays, okay? I'm a bachelor. You think you know everything when in reality you don't know nothing. Your hair space is so clear, your mind is so open that your brain is falling out. It's what my grandpapa used to tell me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He did. Yes, sir. He did. Look, man, I'm telling you, you guys will like the product so much better if you just follow the obvious patterns and the fundamental and the foundation of how professional wrestling used to get over. You don't have to do exactly my ideas from a creative standpoint. I'm not justifying that at all. What I am saying you should do is the plot devices in terms of how you get from point A to point Z, and in more particular, how you get a superstar over. However you want to do from a story standpoint is up to you. But the formatting, the flow of the show, absolutely should go back to how it used to be in the past. And trust me, you'll like it. How do I know you'll like it? Because the things that were minuscule in the past, you mark out for like it's the greatest thing in the world today. That's how I know you like it. Catch you guys later. See you later on for the Dynamite review. Unless something else pops off in professional wrestling, I have to scurry on back here and make another video. Please, God, don't. Deuces, P. Eyes.